Fight through it, don't quit!
Welcome back to yet another Clone or Die. I'm sure you've clicked on the video at this point and said, hey, wow, what's that clickbait title that I am now reading? Insert title here of whatever I decided to go with for the video. Yes, I was going to make a video about the MR762, civilian version of the HK417. I was having an in-progress build of turning it into a DevGru HK417 build, one of the two. There are two different ones. They're pretty cool. Perhaps for future videos we'll go into that. And I didn't have all the parts yet, but we have our yearly 4th of July shooting match, the Independence Training Action Rifle Match, or IDARM, that is hosted every year on the 4th of July, and I shoot it every year. It is a fantastic match. It is very fun, and this year at the match, my gun basically was destroyed after the first stage, so I was not able to continue shooting my MR762, and I had to switch over to a different gun. Mud Gunner, he had a basically Sugar inspired M1A, M14 kind of clone-ish rifle with an aim point 9000 on it, and I used that for a couple of stages. And then my buddy Dean, he had an AR-10 that I used with the EOTech and a magnifier for one stage. I don't think we have video on that particular stage. We might have a picture. I'll put a picture of his rifle. We definitely have a picture of his rifle. I used his rifle for one of the stages because he technically was in the same category as me, was able to use his rifle later on, which was EOTech with a magnifier, so that was in my category of tactical and being able to use a variable optic. And yeah, this was quite a shocker for me in this stage. I thought I was going to do a video about that MR762 and kind of the build process, as maybe we get it turned into a DevGru HK417 kind of clone, and the gun failed on me. Now, I borrowed that gun from you, your dad. I borrowed that gun to just me and my friends were talking about the match this year. We normally always shoot 5.56, and we decided, hey, let's shoot 7.62 battle rifles. Let's do Battle of the Battle Rifles. Now, how many people actually committed to that? Well, a few of us did, and did end up actually shooting 7.62 battle rifles. My problem is I've gotten rid of my AR-10, I've gotten rid of my FAL. All I had left was my G3 or HK91, and I did not really have a modern rifle that I wanted to use, so I ended up borrowing the MR762. It's an AR-15 based platform. I love the HK416 platform and the MR556. Probably my favorite gun ever made as far as my favorite rifle. Yeah, there's all kinds of arguments out there. It's just what I like. So I love that platform. I love HK in general. HK is probably my favorite firearms company. I gotta be honest about that. People have asked me on Instagram. I do the Q&As on there sometimes. If you want to ask me a question, that's probably the best way to actually get in contact with me. I get a lot of DMs. I can't really reply to them all. But every couple of weeks, I'll usually do a Q&A on there. And people can ask me questions. And yeah, I've been pretty open about how I like HK. My favorite handgun is the P30. My favorite rifle is the 416. Just kind of is what it is. So I was very shocked when this gun failed on me. Now, this was a pretty much stock MR762a1. It was the later version of the MR762a1, so the one that came with kind of the lame M-lock handguard. It also came with the lighter weight profile barrel instead of the heavyweight profile barrel of the earlier guns. It's a 16-inch barrel. As far as what was done to it, I know I had my optic. We had my Trishcon 1.8 on there. We had my PEC 15, Surefire M600. I like the BCM CAG grip, so I threw that on there as well because I was kind of running like a battle rifle, not really a precision rifle. Wasn't using a bipod or anything. You know, there's a couple of clips and video of the gun. And it had a Surefire work comp on it. I think Surefire work comps are terrible. They are a compromise between a flash hider and a muzzle brake, and they are the worst of both worlds. You should either just go with either a muzzle brake or a flash hider. Compromises are usually bad solutions. It's kind of like 40 Smith & Wesson, how that's a compromise between 9mm and 45. And then people who are 45 people don't end up liking it. People who are 9mm people don't end up liking it. So compromises are not usually the best solution. But it's not my gun, so I didn't want to change it. I don't have a Surefire RC2 762. I have the Surefire RC 556s. I have an FA 762K, but that only uses the K mounts, and that is a clone suppressor for some various suppressors, so I couldn't even use it on this gun. It's not the same mounting system. So I was just going to shoot the gun unsuppressed. Obviously, I can't borrow somebody else's suppressor that is registered to them unless they're there with me and they weren't shooting the match with me. So I was fine of just, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and shoot the gun unsuppressed. Now the gun itself didn't have that many rounds through it. I probably only put a couple of hundred through it, maybe 100, 200 rounds-ish. The gun was fairly new when I got it. It's got a little bit of corrosion on the flash hider, definitely been shot suppressed. Was zeroed when I got it, so very luckily I didn't have to zero it. I just took it out and confirmed, okay, looks good. Just shooting M80 ball. Honestly, the whole time I was just shooting regular Magtech M80 ball. I wasn't looking for a super accurate rifle, didn't really need it. The furthest target I think was around 200 yards, so I don't need super accurate ammo for that by any means. I'm not using this as a PRS gun or a super long range. I'm not really a super long range shooter. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but there's a whole different world that goes into that. A ton of different information. You can really get wrapped up into like the precision long range shooting. So this was kind of like my entry of like, okay, I want to build a 762, like dedicated DMR mid to long range firearm. My entry into it. I've had them in the past, got rid of them, ended up, okay, I'm going to build it on the HK because I want to build, you know, that DevGru HK 417 Assaulter clone. And I fired the gun a little bit. So I fired probably about 50 rounds through it, just zeroing it, familiarizing myself with the recoil. Not anything crazy. I mean, 50 rounds of 7.62, 308, kind of expensive, but whatever. Then I got to the match. I shot the first stage, which was 12 rounds for 7.62. They did have a hit factor there, so 7.62 was 1 hit, whereas 5.56 would be 2 hits. So I fired 12 rounds in the first stage, and the rifle functioned flawlessly. I'm sure the footage of that was in the intro. In the second stage, we had to start with our rifle unloaded and pull it up and load it. I fired 1 round, and then my rifle ripped the rim off the casing. That's unusual, but I know that piston guns can be overgassed, especially the MR762a1. It's not an adjustable gas system. It is fixed, and they're overgassed a little bit by the nature. Of course, that makes them more reliable, gives them a little bit more recoil. So I went, okay, that's unusual. It ripped the rim. I'm using regular, you know, M80 ball ammo. I'm using a reputable company. Maybe it was just a bad round. We had to get it out with a cleaning rod. It was a real bitch to get out. They let me restart the stage, reshoot it. Hey, my gun malfunctioned on the first round. We'll let you reshoot it. That's not really a huge deal. I went to go fire the gun again. I got off 3 rounds, and the gun was short stroking, very unusual for an MR762. Where I fired it, wasn't fully cycling, had to cycle it, wasn't fully cycling, had to cycle it to get it to chamber the next round. And then on the 4th round, my gun then ripped the rim again on the next round, and this was even more of a bitch to get out. This one, we had to mortar this thing a ton to get even the bolt back, and then we used a cleaning rod, cleared it, and at that point I knew, I'm like, all right, this gun, something's going on. I can't shoot this gun anymore. You know, especially for it not even being my gun, being a borrowed gun, I feel pretty bad that it broke. We have some pictures, definitely, and I'll highlight it there. And we have some video. I'm not sure how well you can see this on video, but later when I got home, I took the gun apart. Also, one thing I hate about the civilian HK rifles is they have those stupid pins where you have to use the tool to press the detent in and then pull the pin out, and it's just a pain in the ass especially when you're trying to close them. I hate that. I take that all out of both of my MR 5.56s. I've taken that out. I've just put regular normal pins in, as many of the HK military rifles would come with. I absolutely hate that feature. It serves no purpose than to make the gun harder to take apart and require a tool to take apart that it shouldn't really have to require. Okay, needless rant aside. I took the gun apart, inspected it, and I noticed that in the chamber, one of the bolt lugs was cracked. And that gun is obviously no longer safe to fire. The rifle is damaged and not in operable condition. I'm honestly surprised, for after the bolt lug cracked, the few rounds I did get off, that the rifle even functioned at all and didn't blow up in my face. I'm amazed I even got through those last 4 after me not having realized that the bolt lug had cracked. Now, right now, I would usually have the rifle here in front of me so I could talk about it. I could talk about my setup. I got some B-roll I can throw up of the gun. I don't have the gun right now. We had to send the gun back to HK through their RMA process. Now, HK, of course, this is a very expensive rifle. An MR762 by itself, of course, is not cheap, but HK does have a very good customer service team, and they are in the process of replacing the barrel on that rifle at no cost to the owner, so then I can then get it back and actually shoot it again and actually feature it in a video. I feel pretty bad again about it, because it's not my rifle, it's somebody else's. Even if it's your dad's rifle.
Dude, R.I.P. my dad's rifle.
Yeah, all right, rest in peace. Rest in peace for your dad's rifle. So that's currently going through the RMA process to get that fixed by the HK customer service team. And it's going to be fixed. They're a pretty good customer service team. They are pretty quick about getting rifles returned, so I can't really complain about the whole process in general right there. It's just a little bit annoying that the gun had such a low round count on it, probably less than 250 rounds, and then it suffered a catastrophic malfunction on that locking lug where the rifle's no longer safe to shoot. Yeah, piston guns like the HK416 and HK417 do tend to put a little bit more wear on the AR-15 system, just due to the nature of using the short stroke gas piston instead of using the direct impingement. Rifles can have more wear, especially when you're using a suppressor and you don't have the suppress setting on the gas block. But again, you generally see that once you start to get into the much higher round counts. Honestly, on my short MR556, which is a very early one, I probably have 10,000 rounds on that gun. I would say conservatively, I have shot that gun a lot in the 15 years that we've owned it, and I've never had a problem with it. It's a fantastic gun. I shot it suppressed, I shot it unsuppressed. Honestly, I probably, it doesn't even have the gas block with the suppressed setting. I still shoot it suppressed, and it really does throw gas back in your face without having a suppressed setting on that gas block. That's something I'm happy about on the new MR556 rifles, the A4s, which are their like American A5s, which is very nice that they now have the adjustable gas block off the A5, so you're able to use the suppressed setting, get way less gas back in your face. That was one of the major problems with the 416, shooting them suppressed. Slade, former Debrew guy, he's talked about that, about how gassy the 416s they had were, and throwing so much gas back in their face. And he said stuff like, because these guys are shooting hundreds of thousands of rounds for these, and they're getting a ton of lead back in their face, obviously with those traditional suppressors, and might potentially be caused to negative health effects down the line. If you shoot a lot, definitely you should get your lead levels checked, especially if you shoot traditional high back pressure suppressors. That's throwing a lot of chemical back in your face. It's something important if you shoot very high numbers of round counts to be aware of, so it might not lead to negative health effects down the line. For my experience for going in basically blind with this M1A, that Ryan Mudgunner, he just said, hey, you can use my rifle. I brought an extra. He was shooting a G3. He's like, I have my M1A, and it's basically like, hey, do you know how to use one? Luckily for me, I have owned 2 M1As. I've owned a SOCOM 16 and I have owned a Supermatch. Now, I sold those guns, and I would say I probably have not fired an M1A in probably like 5 or 6 years. So it's been quite a while since I've used an M1A, and definitely going into this with these stages with a gun I've never shot before. I have no idea what the trigger's like. I don't know what his zero was. I found it out by shooting the rifle. I'm running an Aimpoint 9000, which is kind of Aimpoint's modern offering of the older optics like the 5000 and the 3000, and it is a very blue tinted dot, and it's not exactly a small dot. Generally with red dots, I prefer 2 MOA is what I shoot for. I think that's the sweet spot of being able to see the target. It's not 2 MOA. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'll look it up on Aimpoint's website. I'll put it up what the MOA is, but it's definitely obscured some of the targets, as well as that very heavy blue tint made it it difficult to see some of those distance targets, like at 200. Through that, I was having trouble where I would shoot, and I'm wearing tinted lenses, of course. I'm wearing my Oakleys, which are prism lenses, which are also tinted, so it adds onto that blue tint and just compounds where I would shoot, and then I would have to look over my optic so I could see the target and then go back down on my optic and fire where the target I knew where it was, and then I had to figure out the zero on the fly. So it was just kind of going into it of just like, okay, this is what I'm shooting now. I'm still shooting 7.62 at least. My same M80 ball ammo worked flawlessly, so I know that was not the problem with my MR762. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm shooting an M14 now. I'm shooting the Shughart light build, basically. You know, definitely inspired by that, and I think I made the best of it. Thank God I had owned an M1A before, so I knew how the platform ran. I knew how to rock and lock and insert the magazines. I knew how to, you know, reload it. I was rusty. Again, I haven't fired one in a long time, and it's certainly a different manual of arms. It's not like a one-to-one, like, oh, you shoot AKs, just do it like an AK. It's certainly different, and there was definitely some stages where you had to reload on the fly. That was mandatory, so that was an experience. Now, when I was shooting my buddy Dean's AR-10, that's something I'm familiar with. Same exact controls as an AR-15. I shoot AR-15s a lot. Same exact controls as my MR762, and he had a nice 12.5 build, so it was a little short, and his gun shot flawlessly for me as well. With my ammo, shooting M80 ball, didn't have any problems there. Again, I had to go in blind with two different guns. I went in blind for one stage at least with that M1A, and then I went in blind for another stage with my buddy's AR-10 rat build. So
like literally blind too.
Yes.
You're like actually blind.
Quite.
Like, I can't see fucking shit.
Quite literally flying blind, especially for some of those distance targets when later in the day when the shade came, I could barely fucking see anything out of that M1A red dot. So one of the major contributing factors of maybe I should switch over to this AR-10, because I was going into this with, oh, I'm going to shoot a 1-to-8. I'm not going to have any problem seeing distance targets. You know, that's just up to me and my eyesight. Maybe it's not as good as it used to be when I was younger. And then finding out very quickly, nope, you're actually shooting one of this older legacy kind of aim point with a very heavy blue tint. You're not shooting a 1-to-8. Get fucked, loser. Was the experience. Now it's still, of course, I'm there with the boys. We had a fantastic time, and I can't complain too much other than my gun breaking. HK.
It's okay though. Still love
HK, how are you gonna make this right, HK? I'll be expecting your reply. So in addition to the gun, one thing I was running for this was the new Haley Strategic D3 Pro Sling. This is not out yet, right? Okay, it comes out next Thursday. This video is live on Saturday or Sunday. Anyway, it's not out yet. I used this during the match. Anyway, the sling comes out sometime soon. I don't know exactly when. I don't work for Haley Strategic.
Next week.
They did give me this sling. I get to keep it. It's mine. I ran it for the event, and I like this. This is their new design quite a bit. I've run the old Haley Strategic slings for years. I know Travis and the guys. I'm friends with them. I've been friends with them for years. It's not like, oh, we'll give you something for free if you say something good about us. I don't even care. I don't even think they care if I say something for them on YouTube. But I do like the design for this new sling. I think it is a lot better than the old Haley Strategic sling. It's one version now, so it can be run slick or padded, and the pad's removable. The pad's very comfortable. I really like the pull system that they have, or it can be customized for all kinds of different ways. I know they got a video coming out about it. This sling is extremely, extremely customizable. I liked it a lot. Generally, I'm somebody who a lot of like gets asked questions of like, hey, what do you think of this new piece of gear? And I usually tell people how I hate it. That's my general opinion. I'm like, hey, you know, for most things. So it's unusual when a new product comes out and I actually like it. Right? Of course, people have their niche use cases, whatever. I'm pretty stuck in my ways at this point. I don't really see a need to change my gear unless something I really like comes out. And yeah, I really do like this sling. You know, normally I think my favorite would be the VTAC or the LBT style slings. I like those a lot. They're a little dated at this point. Those designs have been around for over 20 years, I think over 25 years now. But this new market offering, this is a really good sling. I really do like this design, especially with running a heavier gun, running a 308 or 7.62. No problem at all. I think the much thicker pad definitely helps you out. I wasn't really a fan of the pad on the older Haley Strategic slings. I thought it was way too thin, and I don't think it really gave you the support that you needed. I run a variety of padded and unpadded slings, depends on the rifle for me, but I think it's definitely a nice feature to have, especially when you're wearing a lot of gear. Anything to take a little bit pressure off your shoulder of your heavy rifle is nice. So this sling I like a lot. I'm going to be using it more. Test it out, really give it a go for it. You know, I'm not just going to use something one time. So yeah, it's perfect. It's a great product. But so far, initial impression, I do like this quite a bit. And I think probably is worth your money. They're generally a pretty good company over there that makes good products. So I can't complain too much. For my chest rig, I was using a very unique chest rig specific to the HK417 platform. I was running my LBT 1961K, which is a variant of the 1961 chest rig. Now the 1961 has been made by LBT, and then Eagle makes another version of it, which is a split front chest rig. This chest rig has existed for over 25 years. It's a very old design. I still think it's very capable. It's a great design, the 1961. Especially now that split front has kind of come back into popularity for chest rigs, making it easier to get on and off. I think is a very good chest rig. Now this version, the 1961K, is specific to DevGru. They needed a chest rig that was that their snipers could use specifically for HK417 magazines. That is probably perhaps the #1 challenge with the HK417 mags, is finding pouches that'll actually work. Very difficult. A lot of your standard 762 pouches, AR-10, Scar pattern, those are much smaller magazines than the HK plastic ones, and you need very different pouches. So LBT cooked this up for DevGru. I've got mine right here with these pouches. What's pretty nice is these have these plastic inserts that you can take out, and they're like adjustable. So the mag pouch holds rigidity and stays open, so you can quickly take magazines in and out of it. I liked that design quite a bit. I thought it was pretty nice. I ran it with one mag flap just tucked in, and then one magazine there, and then my mags closed on the other one. So there were some times where I needed to reload. Not that I got the chance to reload because my gun broke, but I could very easily just pull it out of that pouch, reload if I needed to. The 1961 is a pretty timeless design, and this is kind of a rare chest rig. I've had it for a number of years. This is the first time I've actually gotten to use it with an HK417, and then it worked fine, of course, for the AR-10 and the M14. Fits HK417 mags. It's going to fit any normal AR pattern or M14 pattern, G3 pattern, FAL pattern, 308 magazine just fine. Another solution for this is there are the mag pouches. LBT made dedicated 417 mag pouches that could just molly on. I've got 3 or 4 of those as well. Those are pretty uncommon where they're dual mag pouches. Another thing that was just made for DevGru specific to the 417, just because it was such a unique magazine, they had to come up with a solution to that problem for that platform. Got my plate carrier here, which is just an LBT 1694 Slick. Wasn't sure if I was going to run it. The past 2 years at this match, I have run body armor. Decided this year I wasn't going to run body armor. First year in 2 years, I was just going to do the chest rig only. And I could have ran body armor, but I wanted to give myself a break this year. I normally run body armor at a lot of the matches I shoot, so it's a little uncommon, but I just wanted to take it a little bit easy, especially after my gun broke. I was pretty mad about that. You know, naturally, right after your first stage and your gun is no longer safe to function, and then you have to use a random rifle of, here you go. I'm still salty about this HK. But yeah, great platform. I do like LBT. I'm obviously a bit of an AOR1 whore. I will do disgusting acts for AOR1. I have a large collection of various AOR1 items, and yes, that will be covered in a future video. I did that video on the Army. I did that video on the Rangers. I am going to do other units and branches like the SEALs. So something like that, of course, is coming. Stay tuned if you're interested in that kind of thing. The video got a lot of views, so it seems like a lot of you are interested in that sort of thing. Okay, yeah, that pretty much wraps this one up. I was going for a very SEAL AOR1 coded video, DevGru, 417 bro, and my gun exploded. So we, in fact, instead made a Black Hawk Down Shook Heart video instead with the wrong gear in the wrong era. Somehow that is what ended up happening. Don't know how we got got there. Don't know how it happened. I just know that is what happened. Well, I hope you enjoyed this clickbaited video, which is not actually clickbait because my rifle suffered a catastrophic malfunction and I had to send it back to get it repaired, even though it's not really my rifle. It's a rifle I borrowed from her dad.
Shout out OG Salty Dad for sponsoring.
Shout out
this video.
Dave. Thanks for sponsoring this video by letting me use your rifle with my own ammo that I bought myself.
And then breaking it.
And then I broke it. Catch you next time, the next Clone or Die.